Broadcasting live from the True Crime Today studios to the world. This is Murder in the Morning with Tony Bruschi and Stacey Cole.
From the Hit Killers Podcast, Murder in the Morning.
Diddy's got the internets, at least a laptop. He's been granted access to a laptop in jail to review discovery materials as he prepares for his trial on federal sex crime charges. The decision comes after Judge Arun Subramanian denied Combs bail for the third time, citing concerns about potential witness tampering. Defense attorneys advocated for Combs' access to the laptop following the bail denial. Just this last week, Subramanian ruled that the Bad Boy Records founder could use a laptop preloaded with discovery materials in his unit at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. The device, however, will be strictly limited in functionality. Okay, so he probably doesn't have the internet. According to Subramanian's order, the laptop will only allow viewing of materials and cannot be used for note-taking or storage. Okay. The order mandates that Combs must be given access to the laptop 7 days per week from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Any additional access will require coordination with the government, and disputes will be resolved by the court. The charges against Combs filed in September in Manhattan federal court include sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Prosecutors allege that Combs orchestrated elaborate, quote, freak-offs involving male sex workers and women who were coerced and forced into participating. Combs has pled not guilty to all of the charges. The high-profile case is slated for trial in May of 2025. Meanwhile, legal challenges for Combs continued to mount. On Thursday, 3 anonymous males filed new lawsuits in New York Supreme Court accusing the music mogul of sexual assault. The allegations and legal proceedings are the latest developments in the case that just continues to go off the rails.
I wonder what kind of computer it is and how they shut that down. Is it like a computer that a 4-year-old would have that you just don't want them able to hook up to Wi-Fi kind of a thing?
Probably like this doesn't allow for saving on it at all. And then the only things on it are like the documents that he needs and nothing else other than the files required to run the operating system.
So it's basically like just a hard drive.
Essentially. That you can then that is read only.
Yeah. Interesting. Quite a switch for, somebody who's a gazillionaire and can have anything at his disposal. And now, well, you basically get the romper room version of a computer.
A romper room. Yeah, basically that is what he has, it sounds like. I get it. I mean, if it's view only, I guess the argument could be made, why can't he just have all these, papers? But I think you could also argue that could be stolen and it could compromise his case. There'd be a lot of incentive to steal that sort of stuff. So it would be not sensible, really, I think, to leave that in a cell. So more on a secured, computer that only he can get into legally for his stuff. I have no problem with that. That's how the world works today.
Well, and we know, too, we don't want him to have internet access because he kind of has a history of threatening people. Well, so if he was able to contact anybody.
Well, essentially, this is like a glorified Kindle is what he's getting with preloaded information on it. So he can read about what's going on and then he's informed on what's going on, and he's every right to be anyone. I would want that right for any person, regardless of what they are charged with. It's the right thing to do. It's fair. You're defending yourself. You should certainly be privy to, the documents and information that are being used to do just that.
Well, it's interesting. In the old days, they used to have paper.
That's what I just said.
It's just crazy, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah. I mean, I just said that. I mean, they could do paper, but it's probably, a high risk of being stolen or something happening to it or somebody getting access to it and leaking it. And you can't have that in a case like this.
Well, and that's true. I would hate to think that things are not secure enough, but it's prison. So, I mean, we don't know.
If there's anybody that can come and go from that cell other than him, which I'm sure there are, pretty much anyone, any guard or anything like that. And then who knows if there's other people in his unit area. From what we understand, I think there's a few, Sam Bankman-Fried being one of them. I mean, there's a lot of incentive there for a guard or somebody to grab a handful of papers one day when nobody's looking, and
kind of a sad statement, isn't it?
And go leak them out to wherever. I mean, it's true though, and then that would completely mess up the case that the government is bringing. So you don't want that. You want to just make this as, fair, simple as possible without ways that this could get screwed up. I mean, I could see that actually happening and Diddy wanting that to happen, because then they could have a ton of arguments as to why this is not fair and it's, his rights are being violated and this or that. So, yeah, I'd go with the computer. I think it's probably a good idea long term.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. It's every single day. I mean, they're going to need multiple hard drives. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, all of this. There's just so many layers to this. And, of course, now you got the Jay-Z angle as well. But that's a civil case. But there's just so many questions about, who were these people? What was going on behind closed doors? Or what was going on right in front of us?
Yeah, there were not many closed doors, really.
I mean, when you watched rap music videos in the late 90s and early 2000s, it basically looked like an orgy on the screen in many cases. So I'm going, the thing is, and Bob made this point earlier today on one of our episodes, is, a lot of times when you see a music video or something, it's art that's, that's not really you. It's what word am I looking for here? Like a more of a cartoon version of you, or a exonified version of you, like in a music video. When rap music videos, no, they're showing what real life is to somebody like a Diddy or somebody like a Jay-Z. That's just a reflection of what was going on in that lifetime, or in the era of time with those lifestyles. Bob put it much more eloquently on the air.
Well, yeah, it's a definite culture shift, and kind of had the reckoning with the Me Too movement, and maybe that's where some of this is coming from. Is enough is enough,
Well, I mean, look, hip hop culture, and people may not like this. It has a huge chunk of it has basically been degrading women. I mean, that's part of it. And so I think it's interesting how we celebrate this culture. And look, I like hip hop, at least older stuff I like, but it was never positive towards women. I mean, now we have some female artists, but even they are pretty much, it's just like porn stars, basically. We don't really have I don't think we really see a super strong female rapper right now, at least that's super popular, that isn't, just pushing their breasts out super to everybody and making themselves uber sexualized. And if that's your image, you want to do it, fine. I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying those are the images that are working and selling. There's not like a DMX female version, or a Jay-Z female, or, a Tupac female, or anybody that, really had some grit and some meaning. It feels like it still does it. And their female artists are uber sexualized. Again, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm that part of it, if you're not going too far. But my point is, it's a culture that is very negative towards women. It is what it is. I mean, fucking Sean Combs or Jay-Z's fucking anthem, Big Pimpin'. I thug him, fuck him, leave him, because I don't fucking need him. Take him out the hood, make him looking good, because I don't fucking need him, or feed him, or something. It's the fucking first verse to the song. People sing this in the clubs. They still do. And we've been singing it for 25, 30 years.
Pretty derogatory.
Yeah, it's not exactly. I mean, if you're a female, does that sound appealing to you? Like, this sounds like a welcoming group of young gentlemen?
No, it doesn't sound like anybody I'd really want to hang out with.
Yeah.
There is something to be said for, body positivity and and being okay showing your body. And that's what a lot of the female artists tend to do. But it also attracts another side that you have to be ready for. And it's the disrespectful assholes coming out and disrespecting you. So it's, I'm not saying blame the victim in any way, but when you open yourself up to that, you're opening yourself up to that. So it's a choice.
Well, it's it's super sexualized. And I don't care. I'm just saying that is what it is. No, you can't argue, and you're not, I know, but no one can argue and say that these are not super sexualized versions of women. I mean, the same with some men, too. But it is what it is. It's not the image of a strong woman who is strong for reasons other than her body.
Correct.
And that's the difference.
Well, it comes back to sex sells.
I mean, I get it. It just further is degrading. I mean, and I think somehow like the track has been turned here to some people think, oh, it's not degrading. It is. I mean, it is. It's meant to be degrading. But it's just such a norm thing with this culture that it's like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm hoping that for other generations, there's a shift. It would be nice because I think we can find a happy medium where we can be proud of our bodies, but not have to be exploited in the process. Does that make sense?
Completely. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I think that's good. That's a good place to be in. It just, there's so much exploitation that goes on. And I think half the time the women don't even realize it.
Yeah, well, exactly. And that's the sadder part.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a dark road. I think the whole hip hop culture needs to have a reckoning. I don't think it's just Diddy. I think it's everything. Look at the lyrics on these songs. I sound like my fucking mother. But
I was gonna say you sound like an old man.
Well, it is what it is. I'm not saying I didn't sing along to them or
right.
This was music of my childhood and growing up. This is high school and junior high music to me. And early 20s. And look, I still listen to it. So I'm not I'm not slamming it that way. I'm just slamming it going, how can we all be so shocked when they were literally throwing this in front of us?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this isn't new material. This is the same. This is stuff we, acknowledged and sang along to and didn't think much of it. But now we're looking at it through a different lens going, ew.
Well, it was kind of ew back then. I mean, I always thought it was weird that, when you're rapping along with some song and these are what you're fucking rapping. These are the lyrics you're rapping to.
Yeah, but you've always had a different lens than a lot of guys. And I say that as somebody who you didn't really fit. You were never a sexist guy. And not saying that all guys are. I mean, some guys are more so than others. But you always had an immense amount of respect for women. So I could see how you would see that even at an early age.
Yeah.
Most people just sing along to the lyrics and not think a second thing about it.
Yeah. They're extremely dark. But again, these were like party anthems and it's just kind of fucking weird. But it just is not any weirder than the previous generation looking back at their lyrics and going, oh, she's just 16 years old. Leave her alone, they say. Separated by fools who don't know what love is yet. Benny Mardone's Into the Night. And then you go back a little bit further and like you get like big bopper material and you start going into she's just like, I don't know, like what, 14, 15 or something?
I think like, the number got a lot lower as we went back.
It continually gets lower of creepy men singing about preying on young women. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing new. This is just this generation's reckoning with looking at the past and going, that was kind of fucked up back then, or really fucked up back then.
Well, you hope each generation, as they learn to see these things, that they do better in the future. Once you do better. Yeah,
you hope you learn from your mistakes and you do better. But sometimes, and sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it takes a reckoning like this to make that happen. And I think that is what is is going on here, and it's going to take some time because it's going to have to be people getting comfortable with what the past is and understanding what it was and when it was and what life was like, and not necessarily excusing it or anything, but also understanding that we don't operate like that anymore. And, do these songs and stuff remind us of different times? Sure. But it's not how we do things today. But, then the whole culture has to adopt that idea too. And the lyrics have not improved. They've certainly gone further than the Jay-Z Big Pimpin'. That's almost like probably listening to Kids Bop compared to what is out there today.
All right, true crime addicts, let's cut the crap. You're knee-deep in the gory details of your favorite podcast when suddenly a commercial hits like a bad meal. Seriously? You deserve better. Upgrade to True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts, where you can binge without those annoying ads. Plus, get extended interviews that go deeper into the darkness and early access to episodes so you can be the first to know. It's like trading up from fast food to fine dining, but with more blood. So, go ahead. Search for True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe and feast on the good stuff.